has the right attributes to maybe spec this out, is we think of sort of smart contracts from a technological standpoint as a necessary utility for certain inputs and outputs to occur. But, and with all respect to Nick Sasbo, it's a bad name, and every lawyer in here knows that, right? Smart contract is much more if this then that kind of machine, right? A daemons, whatever. But then it is a legal contract. But because of that conflation, there's so much confusion around it, and we desperately need to sort of figure out the problem, which we'll work through today through wonderful help of Red Bull, and we've got an artist. We're going to Skype in here in a second. We're going to talk through the problem set. We're going to then have IBM come in and talk about their technological solution. Danny's going to add some guidance on that as well, to say, okay, well, here's a certain state of the art with technology. And then we're going to analyze the legal elements to try to break through the clutter between a smart contract and a legal contract, and then build the spec for that problem set. If we can leave this room today with that kind of working spec, then we can continue to iterate, and I hope we find some way that we can all do it together to actually make this real, because we have a participant here in Red Bull, and I just can't thank you enough. And I wish Martin was here too, but Red Bull's DNA, as best I've been able to tell, and I've been to Salzburg and done work with these people there, it is very much powered by that same passion of music that powers me and a lot of people around this room. And they have put their money where their mouth is, and their commitment just constantly to this project. And the benefit of it is not only do they have that sort of powerful sort of push towards music from a value standpoint, but their financial fortunes are not made by selling music. Rather, it just helps them establish their value set. And so we have the ability here to have a big impact player who is not tethered to the same outmoded kind of methodology that the major labels are with respect to innovation. They're willing to try stuff, and they have the power to do it. IBM too, of course. What we've been missing is the brain power that's accumulated in this room, and also candidly, with OMI, we have not, and it's not been without trying, but we have not sort of integrated the artists in as well as we should. So I'm delighted to have an artist here and talk with them and get, figure out from a design thinking way exactly what the problem is. So that's the general sort of framework for today. I don't know, Daz, if you want to sort of add to that, but
just very little. So part of what we can do together is to take the framework and the scope, as George has kind of set it out, and along the way through the day, help to identify good candidates is how I would look for it. Look at it for this, for articulating maybe on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Functional requirements, success metrics, maybe design patterns, some of the types of things that could assist one in successfully scoping a buildable I guess proportional spec, as George said, so that one could actually trace whether or not it's achieving the functions, and to see, and to the extent that as we're talking through the day, things come up and we think about, oh, we could use this technology or this tool. That's good, but then as we keep maybe a running list is how I would suggest doing it, of potential inputs to a specification. The best way to do it is to state it in almost a technology neutral way, a way that's agnostic to the specific implementation, but just the system would do this. It would prevent that. It would achieve this kind of outcome. The parties would relate in this sort of way, or there would be a sequence, that type of thing. And then the more we can capture the fire and the vision that George just shared over what the point would be, what is like the purpose and the objective. We can even start to fashion that in a certain way, not that's necessarily mathematical, like pure logic, syllogism, but in a way that still can guide the formulation of a specification so that we can evaluate it against how well do we think it's likely to achieve these purposes.
Yeah.
So I'd just say, as things come up where you have good articulations of facets of that purpose, we should chuck it under purpose. And as things come up where a good idea occurs, or someone says something, or there's a line of conversation even that could be articulated in a way that engineers could build and could come up with technologies that are maybe even different from what we know exists now, or we didn't know a tool could do that. I think that would be a really beneficial way to extend the possibility of success for the conversation and the convening that we're doing today. So we can help with that part. And then to the extent possible, we have like 70 more kind of superstar students participating in a parallel online set of sessions for this course. And we can make some of that available to them maybe at the end of the day and get a little extra power boost. So with that, let's go.
Yeah, thanks. So I'd say that it typically takes my students, I don't know, like half the semester before they start like realizing that I'm just an utter like blob of, you know, bleeding heart, softy, you know, mess of a human being, and they start talking. I'd like to shortcut that, right? I mean, I don't want this, you know, like you all are smarter than I am and you have different experience or whatever. So let's make this participative. My worst nightmare would be if I had to talk for 4 hours. I hope. So maybe, I mean, we should pause there, I guess, and get any questions, thoughts, feedback. Yeah.
George, I wanted to say thanks so much for articulating this. Yeah, I mean, really, it's really great. You know, it's very clear that we got to engineer our way out of this.
Yeah.
Because it's deplorable.
Deplorable. Yes, it is.
And we'll figure out how to do that. I wanted to just quickly draw a historical note for people. You mentioned Napster. There is a very important parallel trajectory out of Napster. George mentioned the music side with Spotify. Historically, from a networking architecture, blockchain and its networking infrastructure has a direct historical relationship to Napster. So it's very important historically to connect all.
You mean the peer-to-peer?
The decentralization.
Yeah.
Well, the decentralization too, right? That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than sort of initial thank you very much for saying that. And I love, I should also thank you, A, for the opportunity, B, for the collaborative efforts, and C, for just being the person that you are, the brain that you are, that can kind of shape this in the way that you do. I don't think we could be more different in our approach. But I've certainly loved working with you on this. And
Ditto.
Really honored.
Yeah, I mean, the chemistry is definitely there. So let's see if we can make it bubble into something we can achieve.
Agreed. And I love this, like this idea of like, on one hand, what's the purpose, and then what's the tech to achieve that? Like that's a really, really nice sort of organization principle. Other thoughts or comments or just other kind of levels? And yeah.
Every time we try to kind of open up the system, my background is energy, we had that problem in Europe. So it's kind of who manages the infrastructure might be the same one producing and buying. So the whole trick over there was to separate the entities and have someone managing the entities, so how someone put in kind of the system to get to the buyers and make sure they don't have conflicting. It's all about the commons, so it's how to manage the common goods.
Sort of the failure of the commons, or you're talking about people taking advantage of, yeah.
So how do we deal with the commons, because it's
tragedy of the commons.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what's the name. Is we separate who manage the infrastructure, so what the music label is kind of owning, that we have active energy in water because it's the same infrastructure.
Yeah. I think the tragedy of the commons is real relevant here. This is sort of a thesis as it relates to purpose. I mean,
We'll share
I appreciate
notes
that guidance.
for the result
And I
of
would
this
love
session.
to look, I think one of the things that the